Hi everybody, and welcome back to Plastic Models by a Regular Dude and part 1 of the Bandai Star Wars 1/72nd scale X-Wing Starfighter build. Alright, first off, what I did to get started is I got my references together. Now those are on my laptop and they're obviously off screen here, and I'm not going to be showing those because they are other people's work that I'm using for color reference. I'm using multiple sources, people's work, studio model photos that people have dug up from places, and I don't want to deal with all that copyright stuff, and I don't want to infringe on anybody else's work. So those will be off screen, and I'll just talk about what's going on as I go. But first, I need to, let's see, find the beginning of the instructions here so I can, holy cow, fold this together wrong, so I can get cracking on the building. Alright, so first will be obviously step 1. Now I'm trying this camera angle again and we'll see how it works. I want to make sure that, you know, I keep everything in frame and all that kind of stuff. And I want to apologize up front about my voice because I'm still sounding a bit froggy. I feel great, but I'm still coughing up some wonderful chunks of lung butter and such, but and it's, you know, my voice is all jacked up, so it's gonna have this weird sound to it. So anyway, let's get started. So the first parts I need are B1 or off of parts tree. I gotta get used to their methodology here. B1, I need part 5 and part 14. So part 5, just here, and I'm going to be doing like I normally do. I'm going to cut away from the part a little bit and do the trimming once it's off, because I don't want to take a chance of something getting knocked and broken off as I try and cut it really close. So B5, or I'm sorry, yeah, 5, and then 14, which is this one here. Now again, using or building one of these models for the first time, I'll be making comments on some of the unique things that I might feel worth mentioning while I'm doing this. Now I also need a C13. So we'll get one of these C's here. 17, 18, 12, 13 right there. Now, so we got those parts. So I'm going to refer to my references real quick. I want to look at something about the, well, I don't need to. I can see right here. The engines are, or these engine parts are the same color as the wings, so I don't need to paint anything separately or do anything like that. So now here's one thing that I hear a lot of people talk about with Bandai kits, is it's really a good idea to have some really good cutters to give you some really good clean cuts on this stuff, because you want it to be as flush as possible without having to do a lot of work on it. This one here I didn't cut quite close enough. Might even be time to start. Now, compared to some plastics on model kits, this seems to be just a tad bit softer, which it's not a bad thing. It's just a observation. But I think it might be time to start looking into a new set of cutters here. I'll revert these to rougher work, but the tips don't seem to be quite as sharp as they used to, but that just could be me. I haven't built a model and I haven't been working on any models lately, so could just be rusty. Let me get these cut off. Yeah, see, now they're doing pretty good. touch them up just a little bit. Yeah, the plastic does seem to be a little bit softer than what I'm used to working with. I mean, I've had some kits that have had soft plastic. For example, the Airfix Mustang, P-51 Mustang I did recently, that had some pretty soft plastic to it. Some kits have really, but yeah, this stuff sands really quickly though. Sometimes you really got to dig in. Yep, so no complaints there. Yeah, most of these look like they're going to cut off plenty. Plenty nice and smooth like that there. Not much going on as far as, now there is a little bit of a seam line there that I'll touch that up. Because I don't want that because it could show up in the weathering process. But it really is, some good detail, and the molding on these things are awesome. Now I'll throw in some commentary from time to time that's model related in general, but imagine if some of the other manufacturers that we all know and love, like armor, you know, companies that do lots of armor and stuff like that. Imagine if they went to the extremes that these guys go to with their tooling. Man, oh shnikes, that'd be intense. Which would be kind of nice, I think, for some people, because there's a lot of people that prefer the paint aspect to the building aspect. And if they had a kit that they could just, you know, get together pretty quickly with not a lot of muss and fuss, they'd really be digging life, because they could put the kit together, you know, pretty quick, and then just spend the rest of the time building. So this part goes this way, and it goes on these two pins here. Now this is one of those things where you don't have to glue them. You don't have to glue them, they just press into place. And you'll want to make sure, I'm really going to be doing a lot of test fitting and paying attention here, since I haven't built one of these kits, because I've heard that once you get this stuff pressed together, it ain't coming back out. So you better have it right the first time, because it really snaps into place. As a matter of fact, I don't know if I'm going to be doing any gluing on this thing. Maybe on certain parts, but stuff like this, maybe not. Because, yeah, that stuff fits in there really well. All right, there's my first part. On one of these kits. Wow, that's a trip. All right, here's a quick note. Okay, I'm looking at these instructions. These are totally different to me, but it looks like maybe they're pointing out kind of markers to know which side you're supposed to be working on. So I wasn't paying attention, and whenever I put this part on first here, I put it on the opposite side, which is fine because it's the same part. So that's something to take note of. right here, it's got these two little marker hashtag things pointing at this. So I'm assuming that's telling me to make sure that side is up to put that part on. What helped me discover that is I was trying to put this in here thinking this is where it went, but it doesn't fit. So I think it would really be hard to put a part in the wrong spot, which is good for boneheads like me. But anyway, so those must be indicators saying, hey, you know, this is the part you need to be able to see while you're working on this, because when it shows under the wing, nice and shaded, it points out this part here. So that's kind of neat. You know, there's other indicators of it there, but so, you know, like I said, we're learning how to do these Bandai kits together here. So any of you people that you know, want to, you can go ahead and laugh at my ineptitude, but it's cool because thank goodness that part underneath, the part up top are both well, see, I couldn't have put them in the wrong spot anyway because they're molded differently, each one. So that's kind of cool. You wouldn't be able to accidentally put a piece in the wrong place. So let me cut this one out because it goes on the other side, the side that I'm actually supposed to be working on. And I'll just have to pay attention a little bit better. Yeah, these are cutting off pretty cleanly. One side doesn't seem to be, but I think that's because I didn't have the angle right on my cutter. All right, so we're back to the appropriate side here. All right, so the larger fin part goes in the back, just like it does on the other side. See, these parts fit together really closely. There are close tolerances going on here. So, there we go. Fit together real nice. Okay, so then this piece here goes here and just squeezes together. I think I really am going to build this without gluing it just to see how well it works. Oh, here's something else that I wanted to mention. It shows you what to cut and what not to cut. For example, there's a little tiny nub sticking out right there. You're not supposed to cut that off. And it tells you so right there, because it looks almost like the little sprue gate attachment point. Now I think I am going to glue this one here because it's still a little springy. Anywhere where I glue this stuff, I'm really going to try to glue it in a place that's unobtrusive. So I'm just going to put a little bit right in there like that. Squeeze it together like that. And I'll just, as I build, I'll check and make sure there's nothing that's, you know, bowing out or not completely bottomed out. Yeah, that looks good. I think I might do the same thing down here. Anywhere where it won't mar the finish. It's, you know, like I'm making a beat up Starfighter, but I still want to keep it as neat looking as possible. A little bit right in there. All right. So that takes care of step 1. Next is 1, 2. So I already got that part in place. So now I need part 6 off of B1. Which is this here. Depending on how quickly I can get these steps together, I may do this video series step by step, but we will see. Because if I zing through a step pretty quickly, especially as I get more familiar with this kit, then, you know, I'll have more stuff per video, more steps. just want to avoid the videos getting too long. It's kind of funny, this sanding stick right here, this type, and this side I use for about 95% of my sanding jobs on a model. All right, so again, we're working underneath. So I've already got that engine part in there, and then this panel goes here. So we will squish that into place. The tolerances on these parts is really, really tight, just like people have said. Okay, notice something else. I want to glue right there. I could use a little bit of glue. Squish that together. Then I'm going to do the same thing on this one here. Perfect. There, a little bit there, and a little bit right in there, like that. All right, I'm going to wipe this down really good with IPA before actually start priming or painting. Okay, so that takes care of 1 and 2. Number 3, we need to assemble C2 and C12. So let's find, there's C12. There. So let's see, 12 and then C2, which is here. And there. And there. Okay. And then we need C14, which is here. Since that one's round, I'm going to cut it pretty far away there so I can shape it up off of the sprue, off the runner. Okay, that looks pretty good. Lightly brush that up with the sander. Whoa. Okay, that looks good. Let's see what we got here. That all looks really good. Now it'll be interesting to see once I get some of these parts together if I will have to do any seam filling or anything like that. Not seam filling, but seam. Yeah, see, you wouldn't be able to put these together backwards because 2 pins, 2 holes, 1 hole, 1 pin. So it's going to fit together really nicely. Now, oh my Lord, that is flipping epic looking. Man, there's like virtually no seam line at all. Now I might see one once I prime it, but good Lord, I can't even feel it with my fingernail. It's a little bit of cleanup right there, and a lot of their seams, it looks like they put along natural seam lines of the kit. Yeah, I don't feel anything there, so that's pretty groovy. So then it warns you that there's a round end, and then there's like an oval end with the little keyway, and it tells you to watch for that. So there it is. Okay, now that part's kind of loose, so that I am going to glue for sure. So I'm going to put that there. That part isn't quite as tight as the other parts. Dab a little bit in there, squish it on there. Ta-da. All right, that looks good. And then we also need C4, which is, I believe, is some kind of plastic explosive. C4 right there. Cut that one away a little bit. There's R2's head, by the way. I was wondering where that was. Saw the R5 the other day, but didn't see the R2. Good old R2-D5. I think that's wedges. And it will be, I need to determine whether I'm going to use, which color I'm going to use, because there are some references that show the R5 unit in his ship like an R2 unit with a silver dome with red panels instead of blue. However, in close-up shots of the cockpit for filming, it was white with red panels, so I'll kind of have to figure out what I'm going to do there. I just realized something. I'm almost sounding Darth Vader-ish. Now I am the master. I am your father. That's pretty good, but I'm going to stick a little glue on there just to make sure. Dink. All right, so that's fit together really nicely. Okay, so got all that together. So now I got that together. Before I put it on there, I'm going to get this part here, which is C22, which is right here. I can't wait to get to the painting stage of this kit. I'm really looking forward to doing dirtied up Starfighter kind of thing. Man, good stuff. All right, so let's get back over here. So we're doing the underneath part using this round thing as the locator, and this panel goes on here, like, oh no, whoops, sorry, it goes here next to the next to this engine part. So it goes right in there. Oh my goodness, look at that. Just jumps into place. It doesn't fall into place, it jumps into place. Look at that. So there's that. And then Again, you would not be able to install this backwards because the way the hole is lined up, it's off, the hole is off center to those, so you'd be like, you know, all that won't go together. Well, that's because it's backwards, chowderhead. I'm talking to myself. Okay, that fits on there just lovely. Look at that. Stellar. So I am going to glue it because that part isn't quite as snap fit as the other ones. Oh my goodness, that's epic. Nice positive. Don't have to worry about it being wobbly or maybe out of alignment or anything. It just fits right on there. All right, so that takes care of 1-3. So let's move on to 1-4. So the first part I need to cut out is, I need to do C18 and C17. So let's get those. 17. And 18. So you'll notice some of these, I'm cutting them flush where I want them on the parts runner. Some of mine not. It just depends on how the surrounding area is. And if it will be a nice clean cut or not. Holy Jacamari, man, I can't even tell where I cut it on some of these things. Yeah, I'm going to gush a lot about this, I think, because, you know, being such a new experience. I'm kind of stoked here. All right, so those two go together. I wonder if these could be put on backwards. Oh, well, it doesn't even look right. No, it looks all goofy. I mean, you could press it, but I don't think it'd go together all the way and it wouldn't get stuck. So put that there like that. Boom. Ah, yeah, see, these seam lines are right where there's like other details, so you don't have to mess with, you know, any cleanup. You could a little bit there, but you know what? I'm not going to. I want to build this right out of the box as much as possible without a lot of extra fluffing about. All right, so I got those parts there. I think I will put a little bit of glue on here just because. Boy, these parts are so tightly tolerant that the capillary action just, man, it didn't take much glue to fill that contact point. Man. Yeah, that looks pretty good there. Digging it. Okay, so then I need to cut off C16 and C19. Here's C19, which look kind of like afterburner cans or whatever you call them from a modern fighter jet. Let's see, and C16, which is this big old piece here. Cut that one close, and that one. These sprue gates, they look kind of chunky, but at the actual point where they come in contact with the part, they're really kind of small. So I think that's part of the reason why they trim off so nicely. Yeah, this plastic's really good that you don't have to give a lot of pressure to sand it. It's like you don't have to fight it. It just kind of really just kind of sands and brushes right off fairly easily. All right, so we got that. So again, you have positive location points. You've got 2 bars there, 1 there. Okay, so you can't put it on like that. So where those 2 parts are there, this part fits on the inside. Or that 1 part is there, fits on the inside of that. You know, I got a little bit of a burr here. Stuff like this is where you really want to make sure that you don't have anything sticking up. All right, so that's, whoops. Boy, that's a really tight fit there. Really tight fit. So I'm going to commit. Stick a little bit of glue in there. And then just like a glove. Like a glove. All right, so that's there. And then this one here, same thing. You've got kind of a 3/4 moon shaped hole, 3/4 moon shaped post. So you don't have to worry about things not fitting that. It's not quite as tight a fit, so definitely gonna put glue there. Just like that. Okay, so we'll let that set up for a second. Okay, and that is going to go here on the same part of the wing we've already done. So let's see. Yep, so those fit there and there. And they line up just perfectly. So I'm going to put a little bit of glue right there, a little bit there, and excuse me, sorry. So then just for added whamminess, since this is obviously going to be something that's not going to be exposed, put a little bit of glue right there. I don't want this thing coming apart making its trench run. That would be a bummer for old Wedge. All right, so that takes care of part 1/4. So let's start on, let me slide my instructions down a little bit so maybe you can see what I'm looking at a little easier. We'll start on 1/5. All right, first I need 13 B1 13. So this is B1 13 right here. There's 1, 2, 3. Yeah, those, and there's a two, which is kind of weird. I don't know what the difference is. Don't matter. All right, so we got one. We need one of these. So B13. That and that. Then we need C10, C24, C10, and 24, which is here. Sure those are nice and cleaned up. I think one of the kind of nice things about, I'm thinking to myself, one of the nice things about sci-fi subjects is you don't have to worry so much about realism because it's sci-fi. Now, granted, you know, you got to take some, especially with stuff like this that's so iconic in pop culture and stuff. You have to stay true to the real thing, but it's not as exacting as, say, trying to duplicate a, you know, in-service, you know, Spitfire or, you know, Corsair or something like that. That you're building. You know, you're not as stuck with hard and fast rules. That's my opinion. There's probably some purists out there who would say, man, dude, you're out of your mind. You got to do it right or you're just flipping goob. And that's cool. I could be a goob. This is my first one. Who knows when I get, you know, further along. If I do some more of these, I'll probably be just like all kind of crazy. Who knows? All right, so first part, we're going to put 10, C10 into B113. Now, again, it gives you a little indicator here. Keep your eyes peeled. These little things go that way, and there is a key-shaped, there's a kind of a key-shaped pin there and a keyhole there. So you need to make sure that it's going the right direction. And again, you'd be hard-pressed to try and put it together incorrectly. And that presses on there really nice. I am going to put a little glue on it, just because I'm just that kind of dude. Okay, so we got that. So then we need C24 in place, and again, you know, you can't mess it up. There's a pin there, a notch there, hole there, a little locator there. So that's going to go right into there. Now that's a really snug fit. So I'm going to throw down with a little bit of this, to me, an extra thin lubricant right there on that pin, and then just, as Robert Plant would say, bring it on home. Put some in that little key and notch there. Let it, capillary action, do its thing. Oh yeah, look at that. Okay, so that's pretty groovy. So that goes on these two locators here. You got the hole, and then you got the pin inside of this little box. So if you can see that, it goes right together right there like that. Okay, so in looking at the instructions, it would be like this. Okay. Oh man, that's pretty groovy. So that's a really nice tight fit. I'll get that all the way down on there. And then we'll just put just a little bit of dab of glue on there. Make sure it's bottomed out. Sorry about the camera shaking there. My mount's kind of wobbly. I need to put it on something else, but can't do that till the man room arrangements change. Okay, so that part's done. 1-5. So we'll set it down just like it shows here. So the next part, we need to build another C12, C2 part. So let's find, oh, I'll need the other. C12. C2. I like these parts like this, that the sprue gates are on parts that disappear when you put it together. Okay, so we got C12 and C2, then we're going to need C4, C14. So C14. C14. C4. That all looks good. That looks good. That looks good. So let's see. Let's move these parts over here where I can see where they are. They're so close to the color of the page. Again, 2 and 1, so you can't get it backwards. Boom. Splendid. I think I'll put a little bit of cement in here just because. Okay. And again, you got the oval with the little stubby out part, and then the matching hole. Again, that one doesn't fit quite as tightly, so definitely make sure I get some glue in there. Which I've been putting glue on everything. I don't know why I keep saying that. I'm just a goober. And this just fits on just round hole, round pin. So no big thing there. A little bit of the old cemento in there. Okay, so that is that part all put together. So now we're looking at the wing from above, and this one goes on the outboard part of the S-foil. That's what they're called. It's an S-foil. It's an X-wing with an S-foil. Pretty crazy. So let's see. Put a little. Let's see. Little touch of glue there and there. All right, so that is in place. So then we need C22 for that upper panel there. Must be some kind of an access door or something for changing the spark plugs or something. I'm sure Starfighter engines have spark plugs. Okay, so that goes there, like thisly. Okay, this one's going to get a little bit of glue. right there. And right there. And then I'm going to put a little bit right there. Hold that in place. And that will take care of 1/6. Excuse me. So the next part is 1/7. So you got to pay attention. Here's something here. Pattern A for Luke's X-Wing. Pattern B for other X-Wings. I'm doing other X-Wings, so I got to make sure I use this instead of that. So it looks like this one is a little bit shorter than this one. So keep that in mind if you're building one of these. If you're doing Luke's, use A. If you're doing somebody else's, use pattern B. All right. So first, let's get C17 and C18, which is here and here. C17 and C18. Whoops. All right, so we got that and that. Then we need, for pattern B, we'll need C16 and B122. So let's get 16 since we've already got this here. Right there, there, and there. And then B22 for other X-Wings. So that's right here. So that's 22. Where is C19? Let's just take a look at it. Yeah. So you can see the difference here. This one here is 22, is shorter than this one here, which is the one for Luke's. Okay, so it's a little detail, but I'm sure there's a lot of people that would see that and say, hey, what are you doing there? That's too long. And then you just feel like a real just dummy. I know I would. I'd feel horrible. Not knowing the niceties of the X-Wing Starfighter, of the different pilots. Yes, I'm being facetious. But that's because I'm just a funny guy. Alright, so let's glue these two together here. Again, no real way of doing it backwards unless you just think that looks more right than that. I sure don't. Glue there, onto there, there, and squish it all together. And then make sure that part right there is nice and smooth. All right, so we got that, and then again, this one was only going to fit one way. So put that in place there with a little bit of glue. Cement, actually. It's not really glue, it's more cement. It's really magical stuff. It's kind of funny, back in the old days when I was building models as a wee lad, I used that hideous tester's glue in the little tube that came out all thick and gloppy. Boy, you talk about some nasty stuff. That stuff was flipping hideous. Stringy. It more just stuck parts together than actually welding them together. It just didn't seem like it had any solvent action to it at all. It was just really bad stuff. But that's what we had, so that's what we used. We had a lot of fun with it. As a matter of fact, I remember the first time I used liquid cement. I had a HO train layout, and I had gotten a building for a gift from someone, and it came with glue, and it came with a little tiny bottle of liquid cement. And I thought, okay, that's weird. And I thought maybe, you know, you had to use that glue with that kit, so I did. I'd never used it before. I had a little built-in brush in the lid. Put that stuff on there. I was amazed. I was so stoked. Pretty much from that point, I used liquid cement. I used that till it ran out, and then from then on, I always use this, and I always keep a bottle of this on hand because it's good for certain things. Pretty strong smelling compared to this, but you know, it works really, really good for certain things, and it really has a nice nostalgic smell to it. Reminds me of my younger years. I used that stuff up until I used it on up until the last model kit I built in before my current iteration of model building. 97, 98 maybe. And that was just good glue. I still use it for stuff. I like it. So there's that. So that finishes off. That's kind of odd because the lower nozzle is the long one. The upper one is the shorter one. That's kind of crazy. And I didn't miss anything on the instructions, so, you know, I'm just saying. All right, so all of this is done. So the next part is 1/8. All right, these are all on the B sprue, so I need 2, 11, and 16. So let's get that over here. We got 2, which is that kind of oddball. The other ones are 13 or something like that. 2, 11, and 16. 2, there's 16. Um, 2, 11, and 16. 2, 11, and 16. So I got 2, 16. Where's 11? 11 is right here. Wowzers. I broke that one off. Oh, it broke off nice and cleanly. Oh, rookie move. What a chud. It's a derogatory term from my younger years. Wow, okay. So we got that. That's good. All right, so what we got here? That's kind of an important one to make sure it gets cut off cleanly because there's some really fine rib detail there. You don't want to mess up, but it doesn't bleed over onto the next rib, so that's kind of cool. As long as you cut that one off smooth. You're golden, pony boy. All right, so we got those. So let's glue all those together. So again, you're hard pressed to glue it together wrong, because this is T-shaped. That area right there is T-shaped for it to fit. So crack-a-lack right there. Look at that. Get some glue, cement, whatever proper terminology you want to use, and boom. Oh my goodness, look at that. All right, and then this, same thing. It's only going to fit one way. And that's just like that. Oh, that's beautiful. Beautiful, I say. Man, these parts fit together so well. Just makes me, how do you say, stoked. Goodness, that's just beautiful. So there's that. So then I'm also going to need parts 28. Well, 28, they're both 28. So we'll get those here in a second, but this fits here. And nice big locator parts there, that's for sure. So let's see how. Oh my goodness, that's crazy. So, I don't know if you can see it, but there's like a notch right there. There and there on the inside of this like channel that's going on right here. Where this fits in with those little locators. That's just phenomenal engineering there. I gotta tell you. So let's see. So what I think I'm gonna do, I'm going to throw down with a little cement on the outside of this part here and there. I don't normally use to me extra thin like that. So we got that in place. So I'll put a little bit of glue, a little tiny bit right there. All right, just make sure it's all squished on there. And then cut off parts C28, 2 of them, which is one's here and here and here. So there's one. Now this is that part I was saying in my intro video. It looks like the jack for a German Panzer. So you can kind of see it. Whoops. Oh, that's not the one. Is it? Is that it? Yeah. It's kind of hard to see. But anyway, take my word for it. It's pretty cool. All right, so you got one of these goes here. Again, you can't really put it on wrong. So I put a little bit of glue on there. Boom. Right into place like that. Splendid. And then this one, same thing. Can't put it in there wrong. It's only going to go one direction. That, and boom. All right, and that finishes up 1/8. So there we have it. Part 1 is complete. So I think I'm going to end the video here, and I have to say that so far I'm really digging this kit. It's fitting together really well, and it just looks great. So that's that. That's part one, step one of the Bandai 1/72 scale X-Wing Starfighter. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you join me next time for part two, where we will be working on the next part. Now, I think what I'm going to do before I go any further here, I think what I'm going to do is the next step, step two, is basically step one duplicated, just the other S-foil. So I'm not going to do that one all again, because that would be boring if I did another video exactly the same. So the next time I come back, we'll be starting on the next step, which will be step 3, then 4. So anyway, just want to let you know that next time we won't be doing the exact same thing if you're familiar with these kits, so you don't have to worry about being bored to death. So anyway, that's it for Plastic Models by a Regular Dude. Thanks for joining me here today, and I will see you all later.